In the ancient Yoruba cosmos, where gods walk among mortals and the veil between worlds is thin, a battle unlike any other was about to unfold. It was a contest that would shake the heavens and earth, a clash for power, respect, and control over destiny itself. This was not just a conflict between gods, it was a war that would echo through time and shape the very fabric of Yoruba spirituality. At the heart of this divine drama stood the Orisha, a pantheon of powerful deities who govern the forces of nature, human fate, and the mysteries beyond. They are guardians of rivers, thunder, fertility, and wisdom. Their influence touches every corner of life, balancing creation with destruction, peace with chaos. Yet among them was Ogun, the god of iron, war, and the forge. Not merely an Orisha, Ogun was a force of raw power and unyielding will, a solitary warrior who carved paths through both the physical and spiritual realms. His mastery over iron made him a creator and destroyer, a god whose presence was as essential as it was fearsome. But power invites challenge, and in the divine world, challenges come with deadly consequences. Ogun's rise threatened to upset the delicate harmony of the Orisha Council. Would his fiery determination break the balance? Or would the Orishas combined might quell the storm before it erupted? Prepare yourself, for this is the story of a celestial contest, of ambition and allegiance, of strength tested and alliances forged. It is the story of Orisha versus Ogun, a mythic saga charged with suspense, where every move could tip the scales of fate. To understand the epic contest, we must first know the players. The Orisha are a vast and complex pantheon, divine beings who embody the forces of nature and human experience. Each Orisha rules over specific aspects of life, from rivers and fertility to thunder and wisdom. Their reach is both vast and deeply personal. Take Osun, the goddess of love, fertility, and fresh waters, whose grace and power flow like the rivers she commands. Or Sango, the fierce god of thunder and lightning, whose roar shakes the skies and whose fiery temper can turn friend into foe. And Yamoja, mother of all Orisha, protector of motherhood and the seas. Together, these gods form a delicate balance. Their powers intertwine, creating harmony, or so it seemed. Their roles were clear, their domains respected. But beneath the surface, tension simmered. The arrival of Ogun, with his iron will and unyielding strength, disrupted this balance. Unlike the others, Ogun was a master of the forge, a god who shaped the physical world by bending iron to his will. His presence was not only vital, but threatening, a wild card whose ambitions could change everything. Would the Orisha accept Ogun's challenge, or would they move to suppress this rising force? The stage was set for a confrontation. The question was no longer just about power, it was about survival, identity, and the future of the divine order. And as shadows lengthened across the spiritual realm, the gods prepared for a contest that would test their limits like never before.
Ogun was no ordinary Orisha. Unlike those who controlled the elements with graceful hands or guided destinies with wisdom, Ogun's power was forged in the fire of the earth itself. He was the god of iron, the deity of war, and the spirit of technology. His dominion was raw, primal, and elemental. Born from the earth and shaped by the fires of the forge, Ogun's power was as unyielding as the iron he wrought. A master of tools, weapons, and the forge, Ogun carved paths not only in the world of gods, but also in the world of mortals. It was Ogun who taught humanity to work with iron, to build, to fight, and to defend. His ironclad hands shaped the world, both for creation and destruction. His nature was that of a warrior. Ogun's ambition was as great as his strength. He never sought to merely exist. He sought to dominate, to rise, to bend the world to his will. His thirst for power was not born out of malice, but a belief in the necessity of strength. In a world where weakness was a path to destruction, Ogun understood that only the strong could survive and lead. But as his influence grew, so did his ambitions. Unlike the Orisha, who worked in balance with the world, Ogun's vision was singular. He sought to dominate all realms, physical and spiritual. His weapon was iron, his strength unmatched, and his resolve unwavering. This boldness set Ogun on a path of inevitable confrontation. His desire for dominance in a world already ruled by powerful Orisha could not go unnoticed. His challenge to the Orisha would not just be a test of strength, it would be a test of what the divine order could endure. Would Ogun's will break the sacred balance, or would the Orisha, in their unity, find a way to overcome this god of iron? Ogun's rise was not gradual. It was a sudden and forceful assertion of power, an undeniable presence that stirred the very foundation of the divine order. No longer content with his domain over iron and war, Ogun's vision began to expand. His ambition reached beyond the boundaries of his own power. He wanted to be the ruler of all realms. The Orisha, each master of their domain, had long held sway over the elements of nature, destiny, and human fate. Ogun sought to rewrite that balance. The first spark of conflict was Ogun's defiance. In a meeting of the Orisha, where decisions were made with harmony and consensus, Ogun stood tall, his eyes flashing with the fire of determination. He spoke not in the voice of a servant or a humble deity, but as one who demanded recognition. He questioned the authority of the Council of Orisha. "Why should I be bound by your laws?" he challenged. "My strength surpasses your thunder. My iron cuts deeper than your rivers." The other Orisha, who had long ruled in their respective domains, could not ignore such a challenge. Ogun was not merely testing their strength. He was questioning their right to govern. His challenge was not one of diplomacy. It was an outright declaration of war against the established order. As Ogun's challenge echoed through the heavens, the Orisha were forced into a difficult position. They could not allow such defiance to go unchecked, but they knew that confronting Ogun would be no easy feat. His power over iron was unmatched, and his warlike nature made him a fierce adversary. Still, to allow Ogun's challenge to fester would mean undermining their own authority. What followed was a divine deliberation that was anything but peaceful. Would the Orisha accept Ogun's ambition, or would they come together to quell the rise of this iron god? The fate of the divine realm hung in the balance. The gods would have to decide whether to preserve their ancient unity or risk a conflict that could reshape the very foundations of their existence. The heavens themselves seemed to tremble as the gods prepared for the inevitable clash. It was not merely a contest of strength. It was a struggle for dominance, a battle of wills that would decide the fate of the divine realm and the mortal world below. The Orisha, bound by their laws and their unity, knew this conflict would test their very essence. At the heart of the contest was Ogun's unyielding resolve. His iron will, sharpened by the fires of the forge, cut through the fabric of the spiritual realm. He forged weapons with the same ease that he commanded war, each blow ringing with the power of creation and destruction. His challenge was no longer a question. It was an act of defiance that demanded response. The Orisha, though mighty in their own right, were united in their purpose to defend the order they had upheld for eons. Sango, the god of thunder, summoned the full fury of the storm. His strikes split the sky, lightning flashing in the air, each bolt an attempt to shake Ogun's foundations. Yemoja, the mother of the seas, stirred the waters, her deep currents rushing forward like an unstoppable force to meet Ogun's will with her own. But Ogun's resolve did not waver. He met every strike with the cold, steady strength of iron. His weapons, his mind, his spirit were forged for this very moment. The divine battlefield was set, and the gods moved with unimaginable speed and precision. Iron met lightning. Water crashed against earth. The earth itself seemed to quake under the weight of the divine struggle. The contest was a war of symbols. Ogun, the god of iron and warfare, against the combined forces of nature, order, and fate. Each blow was a message, each clash a declaration of what was at stake. Yet, even as Ogun fought with the raw force of his nature, the Orisha began to realize that brute strength alone might not win the day. They had underestimated his resilience, his ability to adapt, and his refusal to yield. The tides of the battle shifted as Ogun, in his singular focus, began to push back against the might of the collective. With each passing moment, the stakes grew higher. Was this a test of who could control the future of the world, or a struggle for survival itself? As the battle raged on, one question remained. Who would be the last standing in this contest of powers? As the echoes of battle faded, the divine realm was left in a stunned silence. The clash between Ogun and the Orisha had altered the very fabric of existence. The once harmonious world of the gods now lay in fragments, with each divine being reflecting on the outcome of the contest. The very balance of power had been upended, and the heavens, once orderly and predictable, now held an air of uncertainty. Ogun stood victorious, but the cost of his triumph was not lost on him. Though his strength and resolve had earned him dominance, the gods had not fallen without leaving their mark. The storm had been calmed, but the earth remained shaken. Ogun had proven his power, but in doing so, he had altered the very nature of divine rule. For the Orisha, the outcome had been one of necessary transformation. They had once been a council that ruled with unity, each deity respected for their unique powers and domains. Yet Ogun's challenge had revealed cracks in that unity. Divine order had been disrupted, and now the Orisha would have to adjust to a new, more fragmented system. The gods could no longer simply coexist. They would need to redefine their roles in a world where Ogun's influence was undeniable. But the changes didn't stop with the gods. The mortal realm, too, felt the tremors of the battle. Ogun's victory over the Orisha granted him greater influence among humanity. His dominion over iron grew stronger, his power over war and technology unchallenged. Mortals began to turn to him more than ever before for strength, for protection, and for the tools of creation and destruction. The boundaries between the gods and humans blurred, as Ogun's presence now shaped both the divine and earthly realms. The Orisha, though fractured, were not entirely defeated. Each god retreated to their domain, adjusting to the new reality Ogun had forged. Their power may have been tempered, but they were far from forgotten. This new order would test the limits of both Ogun's ambition and the Orisha's resilience. The gods now faced a world that was irrevocably changed, a world where the lines between power, control, and destiny would never be the same again. As the dust settled, the true transformation had begun. This was not simply the story of a battle between two gods. It was the beginning of a new era, one where the divine and mortal realms would forever be intertwined. The question now was not who had won, but how the world would move forward with a new order of power and influence. The contest between Ogun and the Orisha may have unfolded eons ago, but its legacy lives on, woven into the very fabric of Yoruba spirituality and culture. The battle reshaped the divine hierarchy, introducing a new order where Ogun's influence continues to resonate with both the gods and humanity alike. Today, the echoes of that divine struggle can be seen in the rituals, stories, and lives of those who follow the Yoruba faith and its many branches around the world. In contemporary Yoruba religion, Ogun is still revered as the god of iron, war, and creativity. His power is invoked by blacksmiths, warriors, and anyone who seeks strength, protection, and success through hard work and perseverance. His association with iron and technology ensures that his influence extends into the modern world, where industry, labor, and innovation are central to human progress. Ogun's energy powers not just the divine realms, but also the engines of human endeavor. His will, relentless and sharp, continues to shape the physical world in profound ways. The Orisha, too, continue to hold their places in the spiritual world. While Ogun's challenge disrupted the old order, it did not erase the power of the other gods. Each Orisha still governs their domain, though their roles have evolved. Sango, the god of thunder, still reigns over the storms, but now his power coexists with Ogun's industrial might. Yemoja, mother of the seas, still holds dominion over fertility and water, while Osun, goddess of love and beauty, remains the patron of rivers and hearts alike. As the world moves forward, the balance between Ogun and the Orisha remains ever delicate. The spiritual realm still resonates with the energy of their ancient contest, and the mortal world is shaped by the forces they represent. In Africa, the Americas, and beyond, Yoruba traditions thrive, keeping the lessons of the gods alive in ceremonies, music, dance, and storytelling. Ogun's victory and the Orisha's resilience continue to inspire those who seek to understand the power dynamics of the divine and the human. Through festivals, prayers, and the enduring spirit of Yoruba culture, the contest between Ogun and the Orisha reminds us of the ongoing struggle for power, balance, and influence. It teaches that change, whether it comes through strength or unity, can never be stopped. And in the hearts of those who follow the path of the gods, the legacy of this divine battle remains as vital as ever, shaping lives, shaping worlds, and shaping destinies. If you've enjoyed this journey into the heart of Yoruba mythology, where gods collide and shape the world, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Stay with us for more epic tales from the realms of myth and history.